Eric Burgess here, and we've been given the following equation, and it looks kind of scary because we've got a radical inside of a radical. But it's not actually that bad after we just kind of look at what we need to do. So the first thing we need to do is, well, getting to this inside radical, let's just sort of put that off for now because that's inside a bigger radical, and that's one we can get to directly. So we see we've got radicals on both sides of the equation. So it'd be in our best interest to just square both sides. Because if we square both sides, that outer radical is just going to go away. And it's going to simplify with this radical, like so. And we end up getting 3 times the square root of 2x plus 3 is equal to 5x minus 6. All right. So once we've reached this stage, we can go ahead and start to simplify a bit. But looking at this, it doesn't look like it will simplify that nicely. We could divide out the 3 to both sides, but that would look kind of gross. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to square from this step. And the reason I'm going to square is because this is multiplication. This 3 times the square root. If it was like 3 plus the square root, then I would definitely move the 3 over. But because it's multiplication and the division doesn't work that great with 5, I'm just going to go ahead and square it. So we're going to go ahead and square this and square this. And we are going to get 9, that's 3 squared, times, and then this square cancels out with the square that's the square root sign. So we get 2x plus 3. And on the other side, don't forget the special factor formula, right? It's a squared, so that's going to be 25x squared plus, or in this case, it's going to be minus 2ab. So that's going to be 5 times 6. That is 30 times 2 is 60x. And finally, b squared, so that's plus 36. You can FOIL it out manually if you want to see it like a little more clearly. So now I'm going to distribute the 9 in, and we're going to get 18x plus 27 is equal to 25x squared minus 60x plus 36. Okay. So now we should combine our like terms. The x is positive on this side, so I'm going to stick with this side. And I'm going to move these things over. So I'm going to, on this side, add a negative 18x and a negative 27. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Negative 18x, negative 27. So these all simplify out to 0. So we get 0 on this side. This side, we have 25x squared, and then we can combine the 60x and the negative 18x. So this is going to be negative 78x, and we can combine the 36 and the 27, which is going to be, I believe, 9. I think we're going to get 9. Let's go ahead and check it real quick, though. No harm in doing that. 36 minus 27 minus 7 gives us 9. So we got 9. It's good to just double check, though. Okay, so now we've got to come up with a factor for this. This looks pretty gross, but let's go ahead and give it a shot. Maybe we'll come across something. So let's try out 5x and 5x. And then 9, well, let's see here. Can 5 get us close to 78? So if we use 3 and 3, there's no way that would work. If we use 1 and 9, there's no way that would work. So what's another thing? So we have 5 and 5 and 1 times 25. So let's try that. 1, 25. Whoops, 25. This doesn't look like it would work either. Well, wait. We've got 3. So let's try 3 and 3. So this has to be negative. So we know we need a negative number and a positive number. I'm just going to sort of guess where those signs should go. And we know 9 times 25 is going to be huge. So that's going to be way past 78. but 9 can be split into 3 and 3. 3 times 25 is 75. And then, if we had 3 more, that would be 78. And it looks like I've actually made a mistake with the signs here. So this has to be positive. So when we multiply, it's going to have to be a negative times a negative. That'll get us a positive 9. So it turns out it does factor kind of nicely. You just have to sort of fiddle with it until you sort of see it. Now, if you don't want to go through that process, you can also just go straight to your calculator and use the quadratic formula. That's always an option. So, okay, now that we've got this, we can use the zero factor property and solve for x. So this is 1x is the same thing as just x. So we have x minus 3 is equal to 0. That's our first factor. And our second factor is 25x minus 3 is equal to 0. And solving, we get x is equal to 3 and x is equal to, we would add 3 and divide by 25. So it would be 3 over 25. So these are the two answers we would get. And because we had square roots at the beginning, we would need to test our answers. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have a square root. So I'm going to put a square root 3 times the square root of 2 times 3 plus 3. And what do we get? We get positive 3. So, oh wow, that's kind of poetic. So we get positive 3 out for this case. I'm going to write that down here. Is that equal to what we get on the other side? So the other side's got a square root. Remember to use the original equation. So the stuff in blue is the original. So that's 5 times 3 minus 6. Do we get 3? Yes, we do. 3 equals 3. So the solution of x equals 3 checks out. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing for 3 over 25. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to put a fraction here. 3 over 25. You would write it however your calculator does it. And what do we get? We get a decimal looking thing. We get 2.324-ish. Is that equal to whatever we get on the other side? So let's see. I'm going to grab what I typed before and just replace it with a fraction. And we have 3 over 25. We're going to delete this. And what do we get? Oh, we get an error. Okay, so when we get an error, what this means is the answer we get on the inside is negative. The calculator doesn't know what to do with the negative on the inside. So it just says, oh, you can't do this illegal move. Because if you look at this, 5 times 25 simplifies with 25 to be 3 over 5. And 3/5, that's not even 1. So 3/5 minus 6 will be a negative number. And the negative number in the radical will produce we would need a complex answer to do that. And so as a result, we would get nope, no good. It's complex. We could write it out, but the point is on this side, we would have an I. So there'd be like some number times I. So because of that, it doesn't check out. So our answer would be x is an element of, and then 3 is the only element that x can take on. That would make it true. If you have any questions about this, let me know. If you're a Citrus College student, feel free to stop by online tutoring. We're there to help you out. Subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next problem.